Hindenburg is a tier 10 German cruiser, and I will say, when it comes to German cruisers, honestly, I was not a big fan of this line at first, at its initial inception. Wargaming made a few quality of life changes to it that really helped. One is 1/4 HE pen, and then the other big change that they made to it had to do, I think, with DPM or something. But at the end of the day, to me, Hindenburg is fun. Hipper is fun. There's a few other in the line that's okay. York is, York. But, you know, a lot of times it's pretty painful to get to this point of the line. So we'll take a look at how Rob has built Hindenburg. I'll talk about how I build Hindenburg, and then we'll go from there. So to start off with your build, you've got main armaments modification 1, and hey OT, and damage control mod 1, main battery mod 2, propulsion modification, concealment, and gunfire control. Okay, so here's the first thing I'll mention about this, Rob. If you're gonna go for long range fire, are you planning this shit? Are you trying to play the ship from a more like a long range kiting away kind of cruiser playstyle?
Yeah, that's how I generally do it. I actually had 2 really good matches just doing that. But
Okay, that's fine. So the reason I'm asking is because these two kind of contradict each other. Main battery mod 2 is usually really helpful if you play close in battles a lot, but it's kind of a detriment if you're playing at long range because you are missing out on the extra accuracy that you get from aiming systems. So,
Hinden- Hindenburg also doesn't have bad turret traverse. Like,
mhm,
even if you play close, I would never take this on a Hindenburg.
right. However, of course, if you play close and you pick main battery mod 3, then that does have a detriment to your turret traverse. But yeah, I agree. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to Xanda for winning that Leyte Golf Premium container. Remember, you have to be a follower and be active in chat, and that draws about every hour and change of the stream. So, anyways, yeah, I don't mind the range because that's actually how I set up my Hindenburg. You could also go for reload. I know a lot of people prefer to do reload over that. Um, let's see what else. You've got propulsion. That's fine. Everything else is okay. I would absolutely agree with Grunty. Even though if I'm doing reload, I'm probably going to want the better accuracy from aiming systems.
You
I mean,
still
I
like
think
a 25 seconds traverse time if you do that. Like,
yeah.
it's.
Well, he's got 17 right now because he's also got grease the gears on the captain skill.
Yeah.
But if I drop to this, you can see that adds about 3 seconds. If you're playing long range, the thing to think about, Rob, is if you're playing long range at enemies, most of the time, you're only focusing on the same, sector area. So it really doesn't matter much if you're changing, targets because you're so far away. Your guns only have to make a small adjustment. If you're playing close in, that's when you run into stuff on the other side of you that you want to turn your guns to shoot at and whatnot. The only time that the turret traverse really helps you at a long range scenario is if you're constantly changing the fire off your left side and then you change the fire off your right side and then off your left and right again. If you keep doing that, frankly, you're wasting a lot of time. And so if that's your problem, you need to get out of this. I consider that a bad habit, and you're better off using stop and go and reverse to keep your turrets pointed at the target and throw off your enemy instead of completely switching sides that you fire off of. Would Eye in the Sky build work for Hindi? It could. So I'm just going to put this in here and say I would recommend that. Everything else is fine. You've got spotter plane, which you definitely want over fighter. And then you've got hydroacoustic, which you probably want over defensive anti-air. Now, some people say you can get away with doing main battery mod 3 because you do have a spotting aircraft. And if you want to depend on that, Eye in the Sky is a skill that you might want. The problem, Armored Prayer and others, is when it comes to doing builds, a lot of times there's only a couple really good, I guess you could say, core builds that you'd want to consider. So let's take a look at... this is Hindenburg. All right. Now, let's first continue... Oh, sorry. Continue your build, and then we'll look at the recommended, okay? Where are you? There you are. So you've got a non-Lutyens captain. We were talking about that during the commercial break. There's no need for Lutyens on this ship unless you love Hindenburg so much that you play it every day, right? But now that super ships exist, maybe that's Clausewitz. So then you put him on Clausewitz. Lutyens is good on any ship, but personally I have him on my Schlieffen. I think he's better there. Before that, I had him on my Z52. He's great on the Z52 as well. So, anyways, standard captain. You started off with Grease the Gears, then you went into Demolition Expert, and then you did Superintendent, and Adrenaline Rush, and Concealment Expert. So, in my opinion, Rob, there's some inefficiencies here. One, you have no awareness if people are targeting you and shooting at you. If you're playing long-range Hindenburg, I say these are a must. One of these two. Either incoming fire alert
Ammo expert.
or priority target. Well, first of all, I'm trying to get, grease the gears. I might go for incoming fire, or I might go for last stand just to keep your engines and rudders going, even if you are at long range. Pyro
Not needed
or
on the Hindenburg.
What?
Hindenburg has a special trait still that it can't lose the rudder and engine due to HE shells.
Really?
Yeah, and I almost never lose.
Okay.
I would take Gunfeeder as my 1-point skill as my first one on a Hindenburg.
So Gunfeeder is nice, but if you're playing at super long range, by the time your shells hit a target, it's too late anyway. If you're playing medium to close range, that's where I think Gunfeeder shines. So that's what I was thinking.
And I'm almost never switching to AP in the Hindenburg anyway.
Right.
Oh,
So
you're missing out.
I mean, I'll use AP if I have a good shot, but the way I play the Hindenburg, it doesn't really lend itself well to.
Right. And remember that we're looking at giving feedback to players based off of their play style, not necessarily the meta or the right way to play a ship. We can absolutely kind of highlight that as we play, because yes, this line does have really good AP if you get a broadside cruiser and it's like flat broadside, or a broadside battleship even, you can switch to AP, but it has to be very broadside. Too much, even a little bit of angle, and you get a lot of bounces. So the AP is so situational, and that's where I think, Grunty, you're talking about Gunfeeder, because you need to be able to switch quickly on a fly if you need to. But
and it's again the point from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think the turret traverse in the Hindenburg is good enough that you don't need to grease the gears.
I mean, I agree. Grease the gears is not optimal. So I would say either go Gunfeeder or go for incoming fire alert. One of these two. Okay. If you're up close and personal in people's face, Gunfeeder. If you switch to AP, if you don't, then I think incoming fire alert is much better for you. Demo expert. You're spending 2 captain points to get essentially 1% better chance of fire, and if you're always shooting HE anyways, you're gonna get your fires. So I don't think that this is a worthwhile choice. What's your fire chance? 16%. So drop that, and it's 15%. Use your signals, or if you don't, whatever. But like this, 2 points, 1 flag, or literally anything else in this row. So to me, drop it. You could do Eye in the Sky if you're using your spotting aircraft a lot. If you're using spotting aircraft a lot and you use Eye in the Sky, you could probably get away with changing your main battery to main battery mod 3 in slot 6. I mean, you could still use this and enjoy the range benefit of the spotting aircraft on top of the range, but that's a lot. So you're at 20.68 right now, and then I don't know if it shows you with the spotting aircraft on there.
It does.
Anywhere.
Right-click the spotting aircraft consumable.
Oh, thank you. So it goes to 24.82. So you add 4 kilometers of range with this. Okay. Now, if I drop this, you're at 20.68 right now. Let's drop this. You're at 17.83. So we want to get back to 20. Look, there you go. That's spotting aircraft. So a far better skill for you, Rob, to use would be to go to Eye in the Sky. Far better. Tarot with another 10 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Tarot. You never told us what's for dinner, by the way. Okay, cool. I learned something new today. Thank you, Grunty.
It works with everything, by the way. Like it works
Yeah.
with speed boost and
I figured as much. Guys, enjoy this TV slideshow as we get 10 gifted subs coming in from Turo. Thank you very much, Turo. You've got Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent. I mean, these are all fine and good. You got a heal, so Superintendent comes in handy to get another heal. Survivability Expert would be good to have on it. Top Grade Gunner is good to have on it. Let's take a look at the build that is recommended. You can see they go Priority Target for the situation awareness. They do have Gun Feeder, and they do have Grease the Gears. I think the Grease the Gears is more just because there's 1 point left in the build, and where else do you put it? But you can see down here, the only other thing they went for after that, of course, is going to be...
I think what you do with the last point, if you want to go for the spotter plane thing, you might put it in the consumables specialist just to get the cooldown of the spotter plane down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at that. So let's say you went spotting eye in the sky instead of priority target. Oh, actually, you know what? Here, do this. You pick up that, and then you pick up that for Rob, right? For you, others that switch to AP, you would do gun feeder, but for maybe Rob, you can use that like this and get your consumable cooldown really low, 105.4 seconds. Yeah, so you save almost 10 seconds there.
Now, you can also make the argument, which I absolutely do not hate on German ships, if you want to play this long-range farming build, I would really consider taking steering gears in the 5th slot over the concealment.
Armored coal slot, yes. So you could definitely do that in here too. So you've got the spotting aircraft modification for extra action time. So now you're at 130 seconds. You have 2 minutes of action time. Yeah, you get. That's kind of sexy. You get an extra 30 seconds of uptime for your spotting aircraft. Stream Raiders is ready. Let me get that going. So this build might be more optimal for you, Rob.
Funny enough, if you want to do this, the German special captain that is actually pretty useless is kind of useful because it has the buffed consumable specialist, so you actually reduce the cooldown a bit more.
Yeah.
It's the only use for this captain if you take consumable specialist.
Right, because it's got the buff skill. So this is nice. Now, Grunty was talking about in the 5th slot here taking rudder mod instead of concealment, and I would actually agree with you on that. I don't know what the meta build, so to speak, is. Okay, they went concealment, but to me, when I play Hindenburg, having that rudder mod in there just makes it so much quicker to dodge shells, and when you're at long range, it comes in very, very handy. So something to consider.
I really like it for French and German cruisers.
Yeah. The other thing to put out there, and this might affect you in the longer game. H9, hey, thanks for subbing. You can drop concealment expert. Just watch me for a second. Here's what I run heavy HE and sap shells on my Hindenburg. I run heavy HE and sap because, especially Rob, you just said, I'm always firing HE. I'm with you. I'm always firing HE. Why wouldn't you want 10% more HE damage? Now,
Lighthouse Hindenburg.
yes. On top of that, when you drop your concealment expert, that hurts your detectability range, which is actually okay because Top Grade Gunner says you get 8% boost to your main battery load if something is spotted within your standard detectability range, which now you've just increased to 18 kilometers. So basically, if you're shooting at something because it's 18 kilometers without the spotting plane, while your spotting plane is down, if you're shooting at something, you're getting an 8% boost on reload. That's kind of sexy. And then, of course, priority target.
You can do this. I'd be hesitant to do it at this point. I'd rather play Henry, but you can surely try it out.
I like this build for me. For me, the difference between playing the Henri in this style and Hindenburg in this style is I don't have to think in Hindenburg, right? Henri, I'm thinking so much about when I want to use that main battery reload booster, and frankly, I'm thinking an awful lot about where exactly on the map I am and where I want to relocate to in a hurry. In Hindenburg, I don't care. I just sit in the middle of the map in the back and just shoot at things and then start dodging from long range whenever battleships fire at me.
Yeah.
This is a
I
full
like
farm.
I like the idea of being able to go dark and then Hindenburg and maybe get closer if I need to.
Correct.
And
So
if you do that build, you lose that ability.
correct. You do lose some utility towards the mid-late game. However, if you're playing this primarily as a farming ship anyways, I look at it as why not build into and lean into that farming as much as possible and just burn all the things. So for me, this is the kind of build that I would do on a Hindenburg because for me at least, all I want to do is lob shells. And honestly, I know this might sound weird, but when people say, oh, you're just farming or to save your star, when you look at games that are like ranked battles, when you have people that are shooting at you, battleships and stuff, if you're aware of them and you're dodging their shells, those battleships are not shooting your teammates who maybe have less awareness of what's going on. So believe it or not, you farming build Hindenburg can actually win you games in ranked because you're taking attention away from your teammates. It is easier to push in mid to late game, yes. And you can use islands to mask your approach. You can use smokes to mask your approach. There's things that you can do as well to kind of slightly overcome that disadvantage from concealment. But because of the 1/4 HE pen, I mean, you're penetrating 50 millimeters armor. You're chewing up Stalingrads and stuff like that. So make your guns faster and chew into them and really up your DPM. Anyway, we've spent a lot of time on this one. So let's move on to the next one. Why do I need to do Team League draw, Dutch? So you've got Juliet Charlie. So anti-det, you've got both fire chances. You got heal boost. You've got hydrophone, ship speed, and then consumables. Okay. So that's fine. You probably want the fire reduction flag because that's still really helpful. But I don't know. That's the only thing, or ramming flag. I would do one of those two. But otherwise, or you could do anti-air. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think ramming flag for this particular build is great then because you plan to stay on range anyway.
Fire extinguishing or anti-air is best. If you're at range and you have a carrier game, the carrier is probably going to go after you because you're by yourself. So just do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and drop the build viewer here. And let's get into the game. While I go into DMs and figure out what the hell's going on with this Team League stuff. I mean, this Team League has been really rough because they did the team leader draft on the day that we were leaving to go to, to fly to Belgrade. And the first people picked, myself included, to draft people were from that trip. And I'm like, why are you guys doing this on a day when everybody's leaving the country and like airborne? Like, hello? So that was fun. And apparently now there's stuff going on.
Do you have a new water mod, Seth?
New what?
A new water mod.
This
The
is a
water
clear.
around Drop's ship looked so weird.
This is the clear water mod. So, Rob, dude, don't back up like this so early because you are broadside to so many ships in the middle here. I would keep a tighter angle and then start backing up.
Problem solved, sir.
All right. Well, it looks like there's a bunch of people over there, so we can audible over to that afterwards. You're shooting the Hildebrand now? Why did you stop shooting the Des Moines? Get the Des Moines out.
I think in this match I was after fire ribbons.
Torpedoes astern.
The
Okay.
Des Moines is only burning in the back. There's enough space for you to still set it on fire and help your destroyer out.
The other thing too is you were focused on the Des Moines, so you wasted some time to change targets. Oh, almost got the dodge.
Nice work.
Now Kurfürst has 50mm armor plating, so you'll definitely pen his deck armor. I don't know if you can hit the Hildebrand, but I'd be looking at Hildebrand. 7 shatters, your shells hit directly on the rear turrets. Now, I will say it like this, Rob, if you're looking for fires, shooting at a daring isn't going to get you as much. And you are too far behind on that shot.
Enemy submarine.
And that's the top of the island. Yeah, there you go. I focus the Hildebrand, man. Focus the Hildebrand. There you go.
I need intelligence data.
Yeah, I have Keel doing the picks right now.
Torpedoes astern.
I told him, I said, with the summit going, I don't have time to look up anything, so just, you know,
Spotter returning to
do the
ship.
stuff. Team League is coming up this weekend, by the way. I've been doing reruns of that on my rerun channel. Oh, that's something I forgot to update, I think, is my my bot. Oh well. So Rob, I will say you're going in and out of farm mode a lot. It looks like you're trying to farm, but at the same time, you're like, oh, but I want to impact the battle. And honestly, you have to choose between those two. You can't really do both very easily. Hey, that's Chapu.
You also need to consider moving closer again because you are
Yes.
very soon out of targets to shoot within your range.
Yep. As you see people
Yeah, I think
leaving.
I do move in. I think I
Yeah.
do start moving in.
So an easy thing to think about, Rob, is you see on the minimap you've got your concealment ring, and then you've got your range ring, right? What I always do is I look in the middle of that ring. This is where I want my targets to be. If they move outside, I have to advance and get closer, or reverse into them, depending on the situation, right? If they're at this ring here, I might be thinking about trying to move away from them, okay? Does that make sense? While we're doing that. Okay, just getting things ready for Team League. Oh my god, Rob, stop looking. There you go, you see it on the minimap. Put your hydro on. Now, you ducked into the island, and I really wish you hadn't done that.
Requesting fire on the designated target.
I think you would have been better suited going wide to try to draw out his torpedoes and then pop in when you need to, because as you can see, you were not able to shoot him because you went into the island. If you didn't have hydro, then your reaction made perfect sense. Oh, he just killed your Sleefen. Careful that you don't beach. It's far more important that you don't beach than get all your guns on target. Hey, Bownutter. And you beached. Ish. But this might allow him to get away. He's at extreme range right now. He's 6 kilometer. Yep, he gets away because you are so focused on getting your rear turrets to fire.
Support for Allied aircraft.
You did get a fire on him though. If this is a sticky fire, you'll see him again as soon as you get out of the smoke. Plane works too, possibly. And you get Citadel because you're broadside to battleships. What do you know?
Yeah, that was an
Very slow
extreme
reaction.
tunnel vision.
Very slow reaction to these torpedoes, by the way.
Problem solved, sir.
This is where that extra rudder would have come in handy. And look, now you can't see him anymore. So now you're kind of screwed because you don't really know where he is. And you've got battleships that have good line of shots on you. So not looking good, man. Not looking good. You're going to be forced to just run away. Rob is trying to give you everything we expect. That's right.
I think you might have actually had killed him too if you had the aiming systems. All you needed to kill him was like one more hit or so.
If he had the aiming systems, if he had the reload in slot 6, if he didn't beach. Now, of those 3, one thing is controllable in this game, and that's not beaching. So, you know, that really came in to haunt you here. If you would have just kept your front targets only and worried about just staying within range of that Shima, he would have been dead.
Yeah, it was like extreme tunnel vision, just focused, zoomed in on the shimmer and forgetting everything around you.
Yeah, not even looking at the map or anything. And this is why I like having priority target in this ship, or at least incoming fire alert. It just helps you with your situational awareness. I wouldn't focus on the Wisconsin. I'd keep focusing on the Preußen and Thunderer. They're in the middle of the map, you know. They're maneuvering around, so they're going to be slower. They're going to be easier to hit.
Many thanks.
But with how many times you're, you know, up here shooting and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter. You left him at 342 hit points, by the way. It doesn't really matter like what your concealment is.
Enemy destroyer detected.
What were you saying, Grunty?
Yeah, but 300 ripple, like as I said, it's like one hit more, maybe 2 with saturation,
Yeah.
and he'd be dead.
Wars Elite! Hey, I just wore this shirt with you on it. We did Project Planet earlier. Thank you for the sub, man. 12 months in a row. That's a full year with your Twitch Prime sub. Thank you. Good times indeed. Okay, so at this point, Rob, looking at the minimap, I would flip my guns left and head south. Put you on course to run into that Shimakaze over there, and you can use your hydro, at the very least, to dodge torpedoes. But following like this, you're just not going to do much. You got all these islands in the way here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm shooting at an island. That's the moment that Rob discovered. There you go. Yeah. Too much tunnel vision. You gotta look around, man. Gotta look around. And here you go again, trying to get all your turrets in. Again, if you had gone south, you'd be banging away with all 4 of your turrets. Indie games always feel like slow-mo. They do when you're watching them. When you're playing them, they don't, because there's so much, like, you're looking all over the place for where incoming fire is coming from.
I need help.
Alright, there's the Hindenburg. And again, if you had gone south, you might have been able to shoot the Shimakaze too.
Now you're relying basically on this destroyer 1v1 that your destroyer wins it.
Yep,
If not, you're actually in big trouble.
absolutely. Why aren't you shooting? Now you're coming out
You could have
broadside to
stayed
these
behind
ships.
this island.
Yep, he could have. Remember that mini-map? Take a look at the mini-map. He's getting uncomfortably close to your concealment now. Wisconsin, that's the range you want to be. Thunderer is too close. And now you're forced to hide. Well, the Shimakaze died, so now it's basically just win harder, you should be fine. Why aren't you shooting the Wisconsin, Rob? You should be able to hit him from here now.
I think I was trying to get turned around without getting spotted.
Okay. And you're firing
That's,
6-kilometer torpedoes at a 10-kilometer object.
Well,
Not gonna
figured
work.
by getting time before those expired. Or I might fake them out.
You're not
in
gonna
a
fake him. He won't
bad
even detect the
spot right now.
torpedoes. He won't even detect the torps. It doesn't matter.
Ship is on fire.
So, if you really wanted to turn around, then you need to be right on the island, because as you can see, Thunder was able to shoot over that island. You're lucky that Shimakaze just killed him. Okay, now just hit W. And flip your guns to the right. You flip your guns to the right because then if you need to, you can curl behind this island here. If you keep out like this, you have no escape route.
Plus, you use your left side torpedoes as well.
Yep.
So,
And that's a good point, OT. AP would be good here. You forgot to fire your turret. There you go.
I think I did actually switch to AP here.
yeah,
Yep,
you
you
are.
did. Now,
Look at how much damage you're doing per salvo.
yep, you're
With the
doing a
first one,
lot
at
more
least, that
damage.
was all weapons.
Now, like you said, if you were looking for fires, obviously you're not going to get them now.
This is where you switch back to HE, because now the angle is actually too bad already.
Mm-hmm.
Problem solved, sir.
Yep. And I would be not shooting where you're shooting. I would be aiming for the rear or the bow. Looks like the rear isn't really saturated, so I'd be aiming here. Alright, well, good game. Shoot
A
his
little
butt,
bit of
exactly.
tunnel vision, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dreadnought and Hindenburg is always fun. 175,000 damage. You had 199 target hits. And you came in first place. You saved your star. So
What the hell did your Schleffen do? What?
he died. He died to the Shimakaze, or maybe it was this one. Oh, we can look back in the render. I think the big thing is just your tunnel vision. That's what really wrecked you here. The build is something that you can always adjust later. It's a 13-point captain, so it's not that expensive to change your captain. So let's go ahead and look at the render.
That's the point, though. Like, if you want to change your captain, you probably should do it now. since it's relatively cheap than 13. And you could even consider, like, since it's only 30 right now, to go back to 10 and pick up that special commander if you have it, and with the buff consumable specialist if you want to go that route.
That's right. That's right. And unbelievable this, we got to go give a big shout out for Chaos. I'm so excited to meet him and hang out before with
The
him.
kinky
So,
boy.
huh?
The kinky boy.
The kinky boy indeed. The kinky boy himself. How are you, sir? I am tired. I am fighting the tiredness and the sickness. So which sleeve?
And at one point, I got I just triple fire on that Hildebrand.
Thunderer burned down the Schlieffen. So okay, so one of the Schlieffen's gone. Yeah, you did get a good fire on that Hildebrand. So yeah, like if you're constantly firing HE and never really caring about AP much, personally I would lean into that and go like full lighthouse build like I shared. But experiment with it and see what you want. Think really carefully about what matters more to you, and go from there. Right here. Oh, if you didn't beach, you would have killed him. But instead, you got wrecked. Didn't die, though.
Shimmer actually die, though?
He died when he got spotted by the Holland. He goes into B. Right there.
I think he got spotted and insta-died.
Yeah, the other Shimakaze spotted him.
Yeah, and shot
Why
him.
would he go in there? Oh
Because
my
it's
God.
a random battle, and
And people are random.
people are random. But he also wants, remember, he's low on hit points, and Rob was actually chasing him with Hydra going, so he's probably afraid of staying close to Rob, because I can understand that. I can't kill Rob. Okay, now I'm going to change targets. So where are the targets? The targets are in the B cap. So let's go to the B cap. I just don't think he was expecting to see the enemy Shima pop up right there. Rob's teammate. Commercial break starting up. And then I still don't get the thought process of fire off my torpedoes at 10 kilometer. Like, that's just... he's not even going to see them.
Just been playing a ship with 10 kilometer torpedoes, so my brain might have been in that mode.
And that's fine, but just, Hindenburg 6, you gotta remember that.
Maybe
Yeah,
he
I'm
thought
alright.
that Vermont would go warp speed and reach them in time.
Vermont. Well, that was a Thunderer, I think he torqued at. But anyways.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rob, thanks for sending this one in. We're going to switch over to do some coverage of Team League, I